Welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. pDAI has been dangling below the 1 cent, showing general signs of weakness, but is it time for panic, or are we just consolidating and doing a classic shake out the weak hands move? Also going to check out the latest movements on PUMP.tires and really have a look. Is it ready for takeoff, or is it just sucking people in? Also going to be checking out a new project called Dumb Money, which I've been seeing popping up all over my Twitter and Telegram. So normally in the past, I kind of ignore these things. And I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but because I've seen it and I've been keeping my eyes on these things, when I start to see it pop up over Twitter, I've been watching it and normally it takes off and I haven't done anything about it. So this particular one I'm going to look at, and it seems like a pretty decent idea. And I'm going to go through the liquidity. I'm going to go through the website. And excuse me, and then finally going to go into the Atropa Genesis, covering 60 tokens today. So I just smashed through 60 tokens, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of the discoveries that I found as I was going through that process. So with that, first of all, pDAI. So yeah, everything's bonded with Atropa, obviously. And one of the things that I was sharing with pDAI, so I mean, look, the whole ecosystem's pretty weak at the moment. Pulse chain is down, Atropa, and obviously pDAI is down. But one of the things that I was looking at was this Fibonacci. And the interesting thing about the Fibonacci was looking at the past. Basically, it always bounced off this 0.786 region. And so what I was showing was, when I set this up, we saw it really bounce off this 0.786 region. And basically, my prediction is, based on this kind of weakness, we're going to get below the 1 cent mark. And I was sharing maybe this concept around about here, that I was thinking that it was probably going to drop below and then bounce up to the 1 cent and reject, which it's done. And maybe now we're going to really dip below. So maybe this is our lowest price. I don't know. It's really going to depend on the strength of the market. I think this was the 0.0075 was the current local low. I personally think the potential is there for it to get even lower. So I've been predicting that it's going to get to possibly possibly, if we just kind of zoom out, possibly these kinds of regions. So this might be like the absolute lowest that it gets, 0.005 kind of a region. That would be very, very optimistic if you're an accumulator, but I'm thinking probably more like this, within the 0.006, region. So yeah, for me, I'm not really too concerned, simply because of the beauty of this chart and the way that it's kind of moved. I feel like the market makers have this all under control. That's what I really feel like. And now we're just kind of chilling. And now it's really, the believers are being tested. Are they really believers, or are they going to sell? And so this is where I feel like we are now. I just feel like this chart is just still spectacular. One of the best charts throughout all of cryptocurrency. And really, I mean, think about this as an advertisement, as a chart. When you look at things like Pump Fund and Solana, and how absolute dog shit everything is over there. Everything's getting destroyed. The latest rug was 107 million. I mean, these are insane numbers. So yeah, it's absolutely just bonkers. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to share. Just to share that basically I was saying, okay, it looks like it's downtrending, which it was. Nobody wanted to hear it, but it was. And then obviously when these kinds of things happen, usually it bounces off a key level. And so whether it stays below this key level, I mean, people are really going to start to freak out if it stays below here. And to be perfectly honest, if it stays below here for longer than like 2 weeks, I'll probably also be in a bit of panic mode as well. Like, this is just an extrapolation of the previous. I think it's taken from possibly, I don't remember which one it was taken from. That's possibly also maybe the daily that I took it on, or was it the 3-day? No, I took it on the 3-day. Where did I take it from? I took it from the last low. Possibly, I think it's this. Oh, here we go. It's this area here. So it's just this area extrapolated up to here. So just using the bar patterns. But if it's I mean, so it's just a guesstimate, but if we're really like entering into April and it's still really low and it keeps getting lower, then I'll start to panic. But until it kind of breaks this, and then if it breaks this trend line, and then if it does something like this where it breaks this trend line and then rejects it, and then it starts dipping down, then I'll also be in panic mode. But for now, as long as it respects this trend line, then I feel like we're good. But if it breaks it, then we have to reassess. Then we really have to reassess. So, all right. So Pump.tires, I just want to have a look at Pump.tires now, because I've also been seeing that pop up on Twitter as well. It kind of looks like it's bottomed out, but something in me tells me that it's not. This is just my guess. I don't know. I feel like it's too easy. It's too easy for it to really just start accumulating now and going off. Like, I feel like it's just too predictable. I feel like maybe it's more at the moment going to kind of like suck people into it and like, oh yeah, we're going to be green now. And actually then it's just going to go brr. And then it's going to be a massive wick down, and then it's going to take off. And then it might start to do something more like this. Whereas now it's just like, yeah, we're just going to start to slowly go up and then, start breaking all-time highs. It just seems too easy. It's too easy to play the game like that. So, I mean, I could be wrong. It might be like that, but who knows? They're all trending up. Well, the three major ones are trending up. The rest, they're all basically starting to trend up as well. But yeah, let's just kind of see how this plays out. So for me, I don't feel confident that it's takeoff time yet. The reversal is decent for the volume, but still not convinced. Still not convinced. That's just me personally. But in any case, it's always good to. Well, I mean, like if I had money to accumulate, I probably would enter in now, just because it's like, well, is it going to take off? You just never really know. My best guess, my heart tells me no, but who really knows? And then do you want to miss out on that? So my answer would be no. So that's just me. That's just how I like to play it. So, all right. So let's go into dumb money. So Zone, yes, I've seen Zone pop up. Zone, dumb money's PTGC 2.0. I hear this a lot. I hear this concept a lot of like, oh, this is the next PTGC. This is the next PTGC. I hear it a lot. So honestly, that instantly makes me reasonably skeptical. But yeah, let's see. I mean, by the mechanics of the design, it appears to be. So let's just see how it is. So Ben French would have been better if they could edit the code. So what's wrong with the code on dumb money, Ben French? I just heard it was from a reputable dev. So fast forward 2 months, Steve was calling another top. This I can't wait. Hey man, if I do it 3 times in a row, then definitely I'll be the pDAI prophet. But yeah, for now, let's actually see how it goes. So what's going on for Tino? What's going on Diversify? So this dumb money.win is a fully decentralized token ecosystem that operates with zero human intervention, just you and the code. So at the moment, there's been $1.4 million worth of tokens burnt. The ownership is renounced. It's immutable contracts, and the LP is being burnt. So these are all the statistics. So there's basically an interplay between dumb and damp. And basically you can think of dumb and damp as like PTGC and UFO. And these sorts of opportunities are great if you feel like you've missed out on PTGC. But still, I think PTGC is still... I think it's still a real winner. I think there's potential in these sorts of projects that are new, that are coming up, but I don't like the thickness of the liquidity in PTGC makes a huge difference to what's actually happening in the buy and burns, in what's actually happening with the mathematics of the code that's incorporated with PTGC and the design. So yes, these are good potentials, but yeah, I still think you probably can't really look past PTGC, and I don't even own any PTGC. So I just think PTGC is an absolute beast. It's just one of those tokens where you're like, when's it going to pull back? When's it going to pull back? When's it going to pull back? And it just keeps going. So, yeah, basically, this is your PTGC. This is your damp. And so what is it doing? So dumb is the smartest dumb money. So they call it dumb money. So we made it unstoppable. DUM is a fully decentralized, self-running token with no admin keys, no rug risks, and all the LPs are burnt. So this is bullish that all the LPs are burnt. Every trade fuels the ecosystem with reflections, liquidity boosts, and an instant burn. It's dumb, but it's built different. So again, it's got the same kinds of principles as PTGC. So reflections, liquidity boosts, and instant burn. So this is always creating like fluctuations within the system, which is also creating arbitrage, which is also maximizing or like increasing your reflections as well. So this is the DUM token. It has 28 billion supply, and well, half of it has been burnt. So if you have a look here, half of it's been burnt. There's 9 billion in circulation and 2.69 billion in liquidity. So how does this? So all the LPs are burnt. So of the 2.69 in liquidity, that's all been burnt. So that's bullish. But then I wonder where the 9.5 circulating supply actually came from. So, you always have to do your homework with these sorts of things. You'd always want to look at things like, for example, the Pulse Chain Explorer. If I go to the Pulse Chain Explorer and I just get the contract address, I haven't actually looked at that. But I have got the, whatchamacallit. Hang on, let me just get the DUM. Oh, here we go. Have I got it open? Yeah, I do. Oh, request can't be processed. Well, screw you, buddy. All right, screw that. Forget that then. Yep, so here's the chart. I'll finish the website actually. So DUM tokenomics, zero human intervention, true decentralization, automated burn. So the code-driven mechanism automatically burns DUM and DAM, ensuring sustained scarcity and value appreciation. And then this is DAM. So it's doing the same thing. It's amplifying the dumbness. And this is a 3% transaction tax. This is a 6% transaction tax. So with every transaction, 1% goes to reflections in the holders. So if someone buys $100 worth of the token, $1 of that will get distributed out to the holders. And then $5 of that burns the DUM token. So that's going to the burn address. And the same thing is happening with this, except it's 3%. So 1% is reflection and 2% is burnt of DAM. And then what this is actually doing, if you're looking at, for example, the liquidity pools, by doing this, it's creating a constant feedback loop between DUM and DAM, which is creating a constant arbitrage opportunity for reflections, and then obviously burns. So the arbitrage is continuously burning and the arbitrage is continuously creating reflections. So the fact that these two liquidity pools are the biggest together is very important. They have basically the key big dog. I mean, some of the big dog liquidity tokens on Pulse Chain, you've got Atropa, Wrap Bitcoin, PulseX, pDAI, Inc, Hex, and then Pulse Chain. So great little liquidity setup, for $500,000 in liquidity. So for me, I think it's a decent idea. People are waiting for pullbacks. I think this was the biggest pullback so far, 60-odd percent, 65%. At the moment, this pullback is currently on 43%, so it could keep pulling back. There's been a big sell candle here relative to the rest of the candles. So that was 57K in sells, but it got eaten up straight away. But now it's selling down again. So maybe this looks like it could be a potential local top. Maybe it's going to dip even further down, and there might be a good time to accumulate if it gets down to here. But just with these kinds of tokens, you really never know. So maybe here's where it gets to, or possibly this kind of a level here. Who really knows? So if it gets to those kinds of levels, then we'd be looking at a 80% drop. I mean, there's your ideal region to buy in there. This is where it's starting to get into the 80% dip region. So yeah, so I think it's something definitely to keep your eyes on. All I know is that I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on Telegram, and then when I see this flow constantly of this thing being like shilled all over Twitter, I've observed a lot of them in the past. So one that I've observed was Neon, for example, and I saw it just go absolutely apeshit. And so I'm kind of anticipating this might do the same with the amount of hype that I'm seeing. I saw Vibra Finance talking about it. So I think the potential's there. I think the potential is there to at least potentially double your money at the very least. So, but yeah, it ends up being something where obviously at the moment, when you look at these liquidity setups as well, these are all sitting at lows. So once all of this takes off, once pDAI takes off, once Atropa takes off, then it's going to create ripples throughout all these arbitrage pools, and it's going to drag up dumb with it. So it's doing quite well for the fact that all the liquidity pools that it's bonded with are down. So this is actually really good. So hi, Steve. Who'll pump first? Richard Hart, Core Coins, or pDAI, Wrap Bitcoin, Atropa Eco? Isco Ed, boy, I don't really know. It's always different all the time. I've tried to measure that, like what pumps first. I've tried to measure it. Sometimes it's Pulse Chain that runs first. Sometimes it's the Atropa ecosystem that runs first. Sometimes it's pDAI that runs first. Sometimes it's Wrap Bitcoin that runs first. I don't think the market makers are going to make it that easy for us. So unfortunately, there is no clear answer. If there was a clear answer, we'd all be able to go, all right, easy. Let's just buy Pulse Chain first. Then once Pulse Chain goes up for a few days, then let's rotate it into Atropa. Then once that goes up for a few days, then let's rotate it into pDAI. It doesn't really work like that, unfortunately. So impossible to say. Sorry, Isco Ed. Hey, Steve-O, Diehard been out for nearly a year now. Pretty shitty price performance at the moment, but I think it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It pays rewards very well in pDAI. What do you reckon? I think Diehard is awesome. I love Diehard. It's a 10% reflections token. I've still got Diehard in my donation wallet. It's a printer. Whether the price is going up or down, it doesn't really matter because it's tied down. Because it's tied to the price of pDAI, because it's its biggest liquidity pool, yeah, at the moment, it's probably going to be down, at least for the last few months. Also, because it's a reflections token, people really dump it. Also, because when Sunny first created it, he sent a bunch of tokens to a bunch of influencers, but they all sold it. They all dumped it because they don't really believe in the pDAI narrative. So I believe that they're going to be spitting chips in the end. But yeah, for me, I'm bullish long-term on Diehard. There's obviously going to be sellers, but the whole objective of that token is accumulating the tax with the pDAI. So you've got a token that's got a value that fluctuates up and down, but also, yeah, you're getting a 10% tax on every single trade. So as long as pDAI moves, it's sending arbitrage throughout the whole system. So I think I think Diehard's brilliant. So good evening, Clintrons. Exactly, Fatina. Yeah, you were the one that showed me. You were the one that showed me about this Fibonacci. So this was a big help. So what's going on? Live, laugh, love. All right, we got there. So all right, so that concludes that segment. Now we're going to go into the Atropa. So today, basically what I did, I went from, I think it was around about here. So sand, I went all the way. Wow. Oh boy, it doesn't really seem like a lot, but it was about 60 tokens. And nothing out of the, well, there was a few things that were quite interesting today, which I'll go through piece by piece. Obviously, I think probably the most, well, I don't know if it was the most interesting, but definitely one of the interesting things was the tokenized assets. So I should have set this up the other way around. Actually, I'll get into the interesting parts in just a moment. I'll go through the chart. So I opened up, basically the process that I did was I just opened all these up, looked at all the liquidity pools, and then I just filtered out all the biggest tokens. One thing that I did notice, I think because I did 60 at a time, this particular time, I noticed it possibly for the first time, but the biggest liquidity pools were, it was like a sequence, or kind of like a sequence. So for example, particularly around like this area is where I first noticed it, where I think it was like, PhD's biggest pool was with like this, and then this's biggest pool was with this, and then this's biggest pool was with like this, and then this with this, or similar to that, right? And then like this to this. So there's like a line of liquidity that's kind of like flowing, like a strand of liquidity that's connecting the whole of the Atropa ecosystem. Whereas before, I mean, it's definitely a web, but I noticed this kind of like linear thing that was forming. So I thought that was really quite interesting. The other thing, obviously, I'll just say it now, screw it. So yeah, the YouTube stuff. So which one was the YouTube? No, well, okay, there was this as well. So where he first launched the IRC, and this is how people were interacting with the Atropa ecosystem, and they were emailing Maria Rahel, and then he released the IRC token. And the IRC token was released, and instantly it got filled up with people. So people then went down the rabbit hole and followed this. So this whole concept of the Atropa ecosystem following, like there's been no website, And Maria, even in Amsterdam, was adamant that there'll be no website, no online, like nothing online related to the Atropa ecosystem except for maybe like bootleg merch. And so the fact that everything's been communicated through the blockchain is very, very cool. So this was the very first time. Oh, hang on. No, this was that the second IRC? Hang on a second. Or was it the first? Oh, where was the first? What was that? Yeah, circulating supply. No, that was the first one. Sorry. Yep. So that's the last one that I got up to. So IRC. So yeah, then people jumped straight into this. And then that's when he really started to communicate with people through the chat logs. And that's when shit got really weird, because Maria's a bit of a Fruit Loop on the chat log, to be perfectly honest. So I have done some episodes on the chat log. I might do more episodes in the future on the chat log based on this new understanding of the Atropa ecosystem. As my understanding keeps evolving, I wouldn't mind going back and looking back and what he spoke about back then and where we are now. So I might end up doing that. But yeah, the IRC logs are now basically nuked. He's not in the IRC logs anymore. He nuked that. Well, it had a few evolutions, and then it ended up getting finally nuked when somebody actually created or changed a logo or added a logo on Deck Screener for the Atropa ecosystem. So I think he was just pissed off that he wasn't really like the things that he said that he wanted the Atropa ecosystem to be. People were just kind of like taking over and doing their own thing with it. So obviously the YouTube ones. Hang on, have I got two of those up there? Let's see. I'll close that one. So then we have the YouTube token. So this was cool. This was really quite fascinating. I don't really know still what he's doing with this. I think he wants this to be some kind of a place that you can. I don't know. I'm not too sure. He mentioned it in the Zurich conversation. I'm still a little bit uncertain about how this actually works with the blockchain. I mean, for me, okay, cool. There's like tokenized assets, and this is a tokenized asset here. But am I really going to go to YouTube and copy and paste this? And then a lot of these lead to like a bunch of random shit. So, but either way, it's just a different way of communicating, which I thought was cool. So this is obviously, yeah, just this unique way of communicating with the market. So I thought that was cool. So he's like introduced this kind of a concept. This was also really an anomaly, actually, to be perfectly honest. This loan and massacre freebies, 2.16 billion in liquidity. There has been some of these anomalies with like pDAI and stuff, but yeah, I've never seen it with something like this. And then when you look at the charts as well, the charts are extraordinarily bizarre. So even on logarithm, it's still like, it's just weird, man. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't know what happened here. There was like this massive, well, it's not even a massive spike. I mean, it's like stayed within the region of 2%. So I don't know what the hell is going on with this massacre freebies. It's a really, really, really weird chart. And then even when you look at it, say for example, on see, that's why this is super, super weird. So now this, okay, so wait, this is the massacres. So this is the massacre freebies. So this is like a very Atropa ecosystem thing where you get the big, what the hell? What? So this is, what? More than 100% dump? So I don't know what the hell is going on with this. This is more than 100% dump? How's that even possible? So, what? Yeah, let me have a look what this looks like with the, yeah, so it's kind of like this sort of stable coin of the massacre freebies, and loan is some kind of, maybe it's designed as like some kind of stable coin between the two. So very weird. You don't, again, this is where Gecko Terminal shows like a different perspective. See how it's the same chart, but it tells a completely different story. And I've noticed this a few times with things with the Atropa ecosystem in Gecko Terminal. So that was a bit of an anomaly with Massacre and the loan token. And then we also had a lot of these 666 tokens. And so all the 666 tokens, their biggest pool is with no nukes. So this is the no nukes token. So no nukes is kind of like all these 666 tokens branch off no nukes, which is another little interesting evolution. And Maria has no control over the 666 token, so they just go out to the market. But they also have like an element of, he's mentioned them in at different times in the chat logs, how they're going to have a use in the Dysnomia game. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but it's kind of like it's just basically like this different sector within the Atropa ecosystem. So something to pay attention to. So that was another major thing that kind of happened within this particular time, within this little period of the Atropa ecosystem's development. And actually, the period of development was essentially the rest of September up until about a third of the way through October. That's how far I got through. So basically a whole month. So that was probably another interesting thing about this particular region. So we covered the IRC, we covered the YouTube, we covered that. And then I kind of took a look back again on Treasury Bill, only because when I was going through all of these and looking through the liquidity pools, Treasury Bill had a lot of it's like a Treasury Bill within kind of like the midway of this. It started to reappear again as like big liquidities within this particular period of time. So I thought that was quite interesting as well with the Treasury Bill. And obviously Treasury Bill's got 30 million, only 30 million. 30 million in liquidity, not only 30 million. I mean, that's quite a lot, but yeah. So what else was there? Yeah, that was it with all of that. And was there anything unique with the charts? Not really. Nothing really to kind of talk about, obviously, except for I thought not that one, maybe this one here. So this, again, I mean, there's a lot of people that ask about like G-Baby. And so this is just the Atropa ecosystem doing its thing. So a lot of the tokens, as I've shown now, they end up having like they start off with a big dip. Same thing with G-Baby. People can buy it up or it just gets arbed up. The problem with G-Baby, it's like, okay, great. It can go up because now it's got a community, but at the same time, with a community equals sellers. When it's something like this, it's literally just moving up and down with the Atropa ecosystem. So what's this? This was around about the time where the Atropa ecosystem topped, and then it's just started going down. So it's kind of, it just moves with the Atropa ecosystem, these tokens. So I look at G-Baby and I'm like, okay, great. It's a great investment, but also because it's almost better sometimes it's almost better if you don't have people who own the token and you just own the token and you just go up with the Atropa ecosystem and no one can sell it and wreck the chart. So yeah, definitely possibly consider that moving forward with where you choose to like invest in the Atropa ecosystem. The other, which was the other massive anomaly was this Host and TSFI. This was really, really bizarre. And actually, as a matter of fact, I think that was something that I wanted to actually look closer on the liquidity webs actually. So I might do that just now. So Host, we'll get rid of loan. I'll scan that. I'll close up some of these charts because they don't really say much. Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to just show this whole G-Baby pattern that's going on. Massacre freebies. I'll start to close up all these. Code, free up some space. And then, all right, so Host, TSFI, is that's stay of proceedings, I think. I don't know what this is. So it's got like, I don't know. I just thought, actually, you know what? I'll probably actually even see if I can have a look at this one as well. I wonder if it did come up, the Host with this. And I might even open this up separately just in case. But I just thought that's quite an anomaly, this candle here, because that's like a 10x from the bottom, and that was in December. That's huge. I mean, that's an 8x in in a 1 week or a 9x in a 1 week period, I thought, wow, what the hell happened there? And why did that happen? Because everything kind of moves gently around, whereas there must have been something there. I don't know if anyone knows anything about what happened there, or if there was any particular event which drove that. But obviously TSFI is like the profit taking of the system. So yeah, what happened? I don't know. This is really quite interesting, because here, is it during that period? Yes, so November down to 20th of December, a 20% drop. Hurry up. So while this loads up, remember, absolutely killing it. Next one to move is Dominance. Both are OG Web Chef tokens. Yeah. OG Web Chef. I did an interview with him. I don't really have any of his tokens, but yeah, some people have been showing me some stats. I mean, they're certainly looking like they're doing a lot better than when I was holding the tokens. But yeah, I mean, you guys proceed with caution and do your own research. So, what? What? See, there you go. This is where this kind of sucks, doesn't it? Because it shows a completely different story, doesn't it? So price. This is host and TSFI. So it's a nothing burger. It tells a completely different story. 25th of December, Christmas. It's still, wow, shows like a radically different story. So that doesn't even make any sense to me. That makes 0 sense. So I wonder just how much of these. So with the multi-charts, the data on the, I mean, you can see the multi-charts is not all that great, because the data set is trash with the multi-chart. So you can see where it shows no data here, but then I can open this on a side in its own window, and it will end up showing me like the actual data. And then obviously here it's showing like diluted or not the full amount of data, whereas here it's showing me the full amount of data, and there is no anomaly here. It's basically just like, well, it's like nothing, which is, yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks. But I guess one thing that is somewhat interesting is how this happened. So you've got an opposite trend that happened here. So let's go to the 3-day. So from the 20th of December to the 20th of November. Oh yeah, so for a whole month. So yeah, the 20, that isn't that interesting. So it did the exact opposite. So there must have been somehow or some way host was doing something, or something did something that was connected to host or whatever, because there's actually really not a lot of volume that's going through here. So something somewhere did something which made these things move in opposite directions. So against this token, it's going down, but against TSFI, it's going up. So that's just one of the anomalies of the Atropa ecosystem, and one of the reasons why I'm fascinated with this idea of the potential of it being the potential of there being a bear market hedge within the Atropa ecosystem. So, all right, liquidity bonded to Atropa ecosystem tokens too. The remember, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, somebody show me that. Definitely, good luck to you guys. There's so many opportunities on Pulse Chain, so yeah, why not? What's going on, Crypto Africa Gaming Studios? What's going on, Grant? What's up, Steven? Cool to catch a stream. Any thoughts on Fed? Hoping it could get back to 1-to-1 with T-Bill. Maria often plays mind games. Yeah, what's going on, Grant? I guess, yeah, I mean, I have no further comments on that, to be perfectly honest, man. I did a stream on that maybe 2 or 3 days ago. Actually, probably a little bit longer than 2 or 3 days, actually. Maybe it was sometime last week. I can't remember. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's doing all that well compared to where it was, say, a month ago. But I mean, for me, it seems worth just holding a little moon bag for the potential that it gets 1-to-1. So yeah, I'd kind of be afraid of accumulating more just because of that video from Maria. So I don't really know how you would want to. Yeah, that's just my own personal opinion. I'm not going to accumulate more because the sentiment is low. There was that video from Maria. You don't know whether to read it as it was, as he was. You've got the title that says one thing, but then he's showing something completely different. He was showing code, and this is something that he often does. He'll show like a video title, but then he'll show like a PulseX, a ratio between two tokens that are unrelated to the title. So yeah, I don't know how to take it, but for me, I'm just the way that I'm playing it. I'm personally not accumulating. I'm not swapping any more treasury bill for Fed. So remember, it's paying crazy amounts of yield. It's buying PLS like crazy. It's up 8x in the last 20 days. Damn. Nice one, man. Congrats. Good stuff. What's up, Conspiracy Crypto? Any thoughts on X index fund? Maria launched it a few weeks ago. There are 3 different index funds. No, I don't have any thoughts on that at the moment. Sorry. So I haven't really gone that far down the rabbit hole just yet. I'm kind of backtracking now and going back on old things just to kind of get a feel for the genesis of the Atropa ecosystem to help me maybe like see some potentials for the future. So I don't really know. Have you dabbled with it? Do you know much about it? If you know anything about it, feel free to share. But yeah, I don't really know too much about it, to be perfectly honest with you. So I do know that all those tokens are kind of like they're using some kind of like new contract launcher, similar to what you could do with Dysnomia, where you could launch your own, where he like created some kind of like contract that you could interact with. And yeah, basically now he's created this contract that launches these different tokens. So you've got, I think there was 3 different ones. So yeah, I don't really know too much about it beyond that. So I only really dabbled in the Fed, but I know that the Fed and all that, they were launched from like a different kind of contracts to what these were. So yeah, in the past, I don't know if he had his own like proprietary code or something like this, proprietary code rather. And he just launched through his wallet, whereas now he seems to be launching through all these like contract addresses in the same way that you can do it with Dysnomia, where he would launch. Well, I don't think he actually launched any through Dysnomia, but yeah, it's through an actual contract rather than kind of through the wallet, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's really all I know about it. So, and they're not being uploaded to here, interestingly enough. So, maybe that's why they're not being uploaded into here then. That just clicked. Yeah, because it's not actually, this thing here only reads things that are launched from the Atropa wallet address. And so obviously this hasn't been plugged into whatever these other contracts that he's launching through. So, because I do know that there's definitely more than 300. So actually, which one was it? There was Mufti. This is probably one to definitely. This was one that I saw pop up in one of these tokens today, which I can't remember which it was, but it ended up having like a reasonably big liquidity pool with that token. So I'm just going to bring up Mufti. I remember somewhere Maria also mentioned something about getting behind Mufti or something. So yeah, okay, Mufti, Treasury Bill. Damn, that's a thick liquidity pool. So yeah, I think Mufti was like out of all these kind of launch tokens. So there was obviously the Fed, but then so we've been looking at the Fed with the 1-to-1, but then Mufti with Treasury Bill, you can see it pretty much is 1-to-1. So it's pretty much 1-to-1. So yeah, Mufti's definitely one to at least keep an eye on about what might happen with Mufti. But yeah, Mufti, yeah, wow, 1.6 million in liquidity. So Ah. Yeah. Nah, you guys are fine to talk about whatever you want. A lot of people show me lots of stuff. So I just, yeah, it's one of those ecosystems that I look, I don't want to say much about it because I don't want to FUD it. And I'm not saying it's a bad ecosystem, but just for me, I haven't liked it. I haven't had a good experience with the tokens that I had. But you could say the same about Sunny's tokens as well. There's a lot of tokens in Sunny's ecosystem where, like we were just talking about, Die Hard. So it really depends on what kind of thing that you like. For me, I like the Atropa ecosystem the most. It's the most interesting to me. So, um, yeah, you guys can just do what you want, but it's just one of those ecosystems where I didn't have any particular luck with it, and now I just can't be bothered going down that road. So, but I think OG Web Chef is, he's definitely a nice dude. So I've had a conversation with him, but yeah, just don't vibe with the ecosystem at all. So, what's going on, Puffy? All right, 164 watching. Not much going on today. Really, things are pretty stagnant in Pulse Chain, to be perfectly honest. I mean, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, if you're an accumulator, it's great. If you're a dopamine chaser, then it's shit because there's no dopamine here. It's all just down. So yeah. The X index fund seems to move with all the tokens that have that symbol. So T-bill, Fed, Mufti, etc. And if you think about what an index fund is, it follows a spread of token, but it has low liquidity. I appreciate it. Oh, no problems, Grant. Yeah, I definitely want to get to that. And look, hey, man, it wouldn't surprise me. There you go. So the X index fund seems to move with all the tokens that have that symbol. So it probably moves with all those tokens because of the liquidity setup that it has. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's have a cheeky little look. So I'm just going to, because I always have to double check that I don't have any conversations doxed on my Telegram here. All right, so I'm going to bring this up. Where have we got it? X. Oh, man. Oh, index. Maybe I'll type index. Yeah, he's doing a whole thing with all of this. Whatever he's doing here. Let's bring this back up. Well, you can see, oops, wrong one. You can see these people didn't really like it. But let's have a look at it. Why not? Let's have a look. All right. So X index fund. Yeah, it's going to be moving with those whatever tokens it's bonded with, right? So if he's bonding it with the tokens with the OR symbol, which he calls OT, then yeah, they're definitely going to be moving with it. Very, very low liquidity. Yeah. Not much going on with it. Total liquidity pools 11. But as we know with the Atropa ecosystem, Martini Blanco, naughty boy. Check the link in my description. I don't like posting contract addresses. I want you guys to do that for yourselves. And if you go to the Atropa Telegram, I just use a search function. And I type index, and it's going to bring it up. So X index fund. So, but I'm giving you a leg up here. You can see the numbers here if you really wanted to. So yeah, it could end up being something like that. Because as we know, this is supposed to be, or it seems to be, a truly decentralized financial system, which means it's going to have all the assets that exist within the current financial system, but they're being replicated on the blockchain. And this is what makes it unique. This is why I'm still just like, I saw on like still no one talks about it. Like, I'm just blown away. The amount of really intelligent, smart people we have on this blockchain, and no one seems to really care about what's going on here. They only care about it in as much as whatever token that they hold, they want that token to go up. No one's really looking at the total system, or certainly very few are, which is kind of it's a bit disheartening because, again, I don't really have anybody else to really learn from, or very few people to learn from. And, I'm seeing like people always trying to onboard. I saw, what's his name? Dipcatcher talking about how can we pump Hex, and let's sell all the other tokens so we can just pump Hex. And it's like, we're trying to do all these things to onboard people onto our chain, but the people on our chain aren't even grateful for what we have on our chain. They just want their own individual tokens pumped. So it's like, it's kind of lame, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, maybe just because I'm a nerd virgin, I like these things. It fascinates me that there is a potential that we could actually be creating a revolution on Pulse Chain. It appears to be that. And I can't see why other people aren't excited about it and at least wanting to like dig into it in their own particular ways. And maybe as we all dig into it in different kind of ways, we can like formulate this kind of new thesis and idea around it. But it's not the way that it's going at the minute. So yeah. What's going on, Hexologist Heart? Sorry, I just started the stream. I'm catching up on 1.5x. And Stephen, add the 0.886 to your fibs. It's the most optimal entry for coins. 0.886, you say, sir. Good sir. Good sir. 0.886. Let's have a look. See here. Let's have a looky here. So what do we do? How do we do that? So what are you saying? 0.886. Why is it? Do I have to? If I just put 0.886, is it gonna? So you're saying down here 0.0. So you're saying 0.886. Okay, let's have a look. Let's test that, because the fib has worked really well with pDAI up until this point. Oh, that's naughty. Hexologist Heart. That's naughty. Look at that. That's like, that's really naughty. That's really, really naughty. Damn, bro. Wow, look at that. And again here, you pretty much like, it was pretty much like your ideal entry. Okay. All right. Let's call a bottom here then, eh? Shall we? Oh, I love calling bottoms and getting them completely wrong. Let's call a bottom. Oh, bro. You reckon down here? So that would get to the 0.5 cent. That would get down to the 0.5 cent. That's going to scare the shit out of so many people if it gets down to the 0.5 cent. Oh, bro. Oh, I tell you what, that would scare the shit out of so many people. But hey, it's definitely respected it for the last two little macro, the little two minor bull and bear cycles within pDAI. Wow. Okay, gets down to the 5 cent. To the 5 cent. Interesting. Let's keep an eye on that, because then it's also going to break out of this trend. That could be a real that's going to be a real tester. That's going to be a real tester for people. That's going to be a real tester. I mean, imagine if it ends up doing something like this, oops. We reject here. Maybe we reject off this fib, come out here, then we bounce off the trend line and then come down here, and it's like, oh, people, once we reject this trend, is it going to be like, oh boy, that could be some really scary. That could be a really scary scenario. But I like what you did there. Hexologist Heart. It's a higher high, but tricks a lot of people to dump around that area. Oh, you're talking about it from a. It's a higher high. You're talking about it from a sell point. It's a higher high. Point. Where are we looking there, brother? 0.886 is down, is it not? What are we looking at? I am confused, or it is a higher high, but tricks a lot of people to dump around that area. That doesn't make much sense, man. Because if it's a higher high, that means it's trending up. But the 0.886 is showing that it's a downward thing, unless you mean like in the unless is there like an opposite way that it does this? Let's just show this the opposite way. Yeah, I'm not too sure what to make of that. But it looks pretty good even on the upside as well. Like it's a good little in like a good little line to have there to show, like, you know, if it rejects from that line, it's like, okay, we've got a confirmation perhaps of a bearish trend, or like entering into like a bearish trend, say. Let's see if it does it again here. I'll maximize this. Why am I working like a little pleb? I'll tell you what, I want to change the color. I don't want it to be red. We want it to be, let's make it we've already got we've got a blue, maybe purple. Yeah, we'll make a purple. Oh yes, I like purple. All right. So what happened here? Let's yeah, okay, interesting. It kind of peaked its way through, but then fell back down. So nice. Okay, I think that's a really good addition. A really good little addition to the tool belt. But I might make it a different color purple. Maybe like a lighter purple or something. There we go. That's better. All right. Yeah, nice. I don't know if that's what you were meaning, Hexologist Heart, but bro, that's definitely a cheeky little yeah, boy, people are going to be losing their shit. They're going to be losing their shit, but I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that. I like the look of that. I don't know if it's going to get down there. If pDAI is supposed to be as strong as what we're kind of hoping, then it's probably, oops, we want to swap this around. It's probably not going to get there, but we're on the downtrend now, so we're showing it like this. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I mean, boy, it definitely, the possibility's there. The possibility is there. So thanks, Fatina. I appreciate that. What's going on, Belta? What's going on, Dukaboos? Yeah, you reckon it's going to come to take people out? Give him that final shakeout. I believe it is T. I believe it is I think maybe it's the wave C in a correction wave and an ABC correction. Okay. 1, 2. So what? ABC like this? Is that how it goes? ABC? I've never used the that was actually one of the first things that I noticed when I was doing Forex was the waves. So I was like, oh, so what do we got? ABC. So you're saying A, let's say there. Does it, so you're saying the C is like down here or something, possibly. So it's something like this. I'll have to look into that actually. Yeah, because that would, if you've got a confluence, that would be most interesting. So could you please do the fib from start if possible? You could, yeah. Let's have a look. I'm not sure it shows much, but we'll have a cheeky little look. Yeah, I mean, look, for me, that's not particularly helpful in Belter. Simply because I guess this is one of the things about the fib. You can, oh yeah, look, you've got it lining up here and it's bouncing off here perfectly and all this. You can say all of that, but I like the idea of just using it within these little bull and bear cycles with pDAI, especially. With others not necessarily, but with pDAI especially, it really, really works very, very well with pDAI. So yeah, for me, it's a great way of measuring where the bottom could be. So the bottom could be here, could be down to the 0.5%. And then it's a great way of measuring where the potential next top is. It's picked the potential next top twice very, very well. So it picked this potential top and it picked this potential top, certainly within a very close region. So I'm anticipating 8 to 12 cents for the next local top. So for pDAI. So all right, I'm going to leave it with that. So thanks for the contributions, Fatina. Doesn't have to be a long one, so it's an hour. So everybody, thanks very much. Not a lot with Pulse Chain these days. In the last day, it's been pretty chill. It seems like things are kind of getting ready to take off, but not quite yet. I feel kind of flat. I feel like the opportunities are maybe in like these new things that are popping up, like dumb money, for example. Rather than say Pump.tires, I don't think that the attention's just there just yet. I think the attention is maybe going to be on these little random little memes that pop up here and there. Like, we had like Ricky, there was Ricky, there's these kind of random ones that pop up every so often. So yeah, I would definitely investigate this. So anyway, oh, hang on. We just had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse Elliott wave, and now an ABC correction Elliott wave. Then once we finish the C, we go back to following the current trend. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I meant to delete the fib and draw it again. It's all good. It would just look exactly the same in Belter. So if I deleted it and drew it again, it would look exactly the same. So yeah, I would basically be drawing it like this from the top to the bottom. So it would look exactly the same. So, okay. All right. I'm going to leave it with that. Thanks for your contributions in the chat, everyone. Take care.